Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Healing Embodied podcast. This is your host, Chelsea Horton, and today I'm so honored to have our guest, Melanie Smithson. She is a dance movement therapist as well, and she is an author. And today we're going to be talking about the importance, the power of integrating the body, mind, and spirit in order to feel more liberated, more whole, more free in your life. So, welcome to the podcast, Melanie. So happy to have you here.
Thrilled to be here.
So, we were chatting a bit before I started recording, and even just in the way you were talking about the body and all the wisdom that the body has, and how so many of us suppress the wisdom of the body, or we don't even know how to listen to the wisdom of the body, or
Yes.
we are taught to ignore the wisdom of the body.
Yes.
Take me to, let's talk about what happens when we are not really attuned to and connected to the wisdom of our body.
Yeah. Well, so many things, Chelsea. And I look back on my life, and as you're speaking, I'm like, well, how did I get tuned into my body? I was fortunate that my mom took me to dance class at 4 years old. And so I've been dancing forever. But even when I went to school for dance movement therapy, where I thought, oh, I'm great, I've been dancing and I've been doing all of this work myself. When I went to school, I recognized that, yes, I knew how to move my body. And yes, I knew how to process, but the connection between the body and the mind was not there. And my husband also is in the not mental health field, he's in physical health, he's acupuncturist, energy medicine practitioner. And so we actually see it, we've seen it in our clinic for so many years, that the suppression of emotions winds up manifesting as physical illness over and over again. And in probably the last 10 years, the medical profession has started to say, oh, stress is a contributor to illness. I'm like, no joke. But of course it is. And anger and stress, they build up because what happens, there are emotional receptor sites throughout the body. This is Candace Pert's work. I'm pretty sure you're familiar, that we hold emotions in the belly, in the chest, in the legs, in the head, in the back. It's like any place is prime for holding a suppressed emotion. As children, often we were not in an environment where it was okay to feel. And whether it was because somebody told us that it simply isn't allowed, or if there was another sibling that was sick, or parents were always fighting, we decided I'll be the good kid, I won't feel. Those feelings need a place to go. And the body is what we have available. And it's interesting, Christine Caldwell, my teacher at Naropa, also talked about how we start using the body as an addictive outlet. So since we can't get our hands on alcohol or drugs or whatever it is that we get to use as adults, as children, we would use the body and start doing, like, some will stroke my hair, right? Movement tags is what she called them. So the body became a receptacle and also a place for self-soothing, but without going deeper, nothing moves. So I believe, I like to think of it that we have suppressed these feelings because it was the best we could do as children. We didn't have a choice, but we put them in our bodies for safekeeping. And as adults, it's our job to let them move. How do we uncover them? And this, of course, is the therapy process, but the body is so critical to letting go of trauma, and so critical for changing patterns in the therapy world. But it's also in the spiritual world, in our practices, there's a tendency to neglect the body. And it's kind of crazy because we talk about, in the spiritual world, we talk about the inclusivity of everything, that there is no separation, there is no me, there is no this. And yet we say, oh, but not the body. The body's just here. That's not who I am. The body is part of everything. And I'm a teacher of the Course in Miracles, and I've been studying it for over 40 years myself. And the Course in Miracles, if you're familiar, says, I am not a body, I am free. And absolutely, I am not this, but this is the vehicle that I am in. It's the one that is going to take me through this world. It is the one that's going to support me. It's here to help me communicate. It's here to give me information. And to pretend like it's not, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that is so powerful. Especially, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, starting from like so many of us are taught from a young age to suppress our body's cues, either because of the environment we're in, or even just like the schooling system, stop wiggling, stop moving,
Yes. Yes.
like stay still, stay quiet. Children are meant to like move and express. And then we
Right.
get into the workforce and it's like override your need for rest, override your hunger cues, override to
And
like
sit, and again, still sit still.
sit still, be productive at all costs. It doesn't matter your energy levels, it doesn't matter your emotion. You need to get the task done. And then even in the spiritual world, I mean, I grew up very conservative uh Christian, and the
Uh,
body was like the enemy. It's like the body is the flesh, the body is the thing that makes us sin, and we need to overcome our body, we need to transcend our body. And so we are inundated
yes.
from so many different places that
Yes.
our body is this problem,
Yes.
our body is an inconvenience, and our
Yes.
body in the world I grew up in, our body is a stumbling block
Yes.
to our spiritual evolution.
Yes.
And we you and I both know it's actually the opposite. through
Opposite.
through lived experience.
Yes.
The body holds everything that we need
Right.
for deeper
Yeah.
connection to life and spirit.
Yeah. And I have a quote here. It's going on to my I have a group starting tomorrow on embodied spirituality. And the quote I have on here is energy moves in waves. Waves move in patterns. Patterns move in rhythms. A human being is just that. Energy, waves, patterns, rhythms. Nothing more, nothing less. A dance. And this you probably recognize as Gabrielle Roth, um, one of my, well, she's not my mentor, but I studied with somebody who studied with her, but she's amazing. But to recognize that that which we are is energy. That energy is that which moves. And to deny that is literally denying our essence. So I have actually been teaching for a lot of years that our work is to break the identification with everything that we're not. So we are not our thoughts. We are not our feelings. We are not our body. But to deny that these are part of our experience is also not accurate. So nobody would say, oh, I think I'll pretend like my thoughts don't happen, or that my emotions, well, many people will say, I'm going to pretend like my emotions are not arising. Um, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So learning how to navigate what is arising in the body, in the emotional system, in the mind is what our work is while we're here.
Yeah, it's making me think of the concept of the observer. It's like, yes, I'm not any one of my emotions. I'm not any one of my thoughts. I'm not any one experience in my body. And yet they're still part of my human experience. So, how do I connect with them without fusing my sense of self with them? And I think of we're the observer, we're the one who experiences these things.
Yes.
And something I have my clients consider a lot is what are these things teaching me about what it means to be human?
Yes. Yes. And I feel, for me these days in therapy, not these days, for the last 20 years at least, it's a dance between how do I move through what was programmed, what I was taught, what's the emotion, and simultaneously recognize I am not that. And I think, when you've done enough emotional work, then you can just, if you're having a bad day, and I do this regularly, oh, look, Melanie's really pissed about that. So recognizing that I am not that, even though Melanie is having that experience, is a place that I can have expanded awareness and still support moving through that feeling. But the more identified I am with the feeling or the thought or the habit, the more identified I am with it, the stickier it feels and the harder it is to move through. So we do that practice of, oh, look what's happening. And how do I move it? How do I release it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's yeah, like you said, it's a dance. It's such a nuanced dance because I imagine there might be people listening who are like, wait, how do I not identify with it, but also accept it and
Right.
observe it and move with it?
Right.
And I'd love to hear your thoughts on like, what does it mean to not identify with something or to identify with something?
Yeah. So there is, we all know that feelings happen. Um, our verbiage is doesn't really support us in let's just say mental health and well-being. The verbiage of I am sad, I am angry creates more of an identification. And we all kind of hang out on a continuum, I think, with almost everything, but with feelings especially, many of us or many are at that, I'm not feeling anything. I'm okay, I'm fine. And society has taught us that it's not okay to be emotional, that being emotional is weak. On the other side of this particular spectrum, we've got, I have a feeling. And if I have a feeling, I have to do something with it. Either way, that feeling winds up controlling us. So whether we have suppressed it or become one with it, we are now enmeshed. And on the other side, even, we'll call this another spectrum of the spiritual world of, oh, I'm not that, so I don't have to deal with my feelings. That also happens. And that winds up being bypassing.
Yeah.
So, somewhere in the middle is there are feelings arising in this body mind.
Hmm.
And I was going to say it's mine to move with, but even that is like, if there is no I, which is another piece of the spiritual practice for me, if I'm not my feelings, if I'm not my thoughts, if I'm not the sensations, what am I? I am all that is.
Yeah.
So there's, verbiage doesn't help us, but it's still, it's still my job. We'll say my, because I don't have a better word.
Yeah.
It's still my job to let that move through.
Yeah.
And I talk about feelings as waves on the ocean a lot. I think it's a good analogy that feelings come and go, and they may be big waves, they may be little waves.
Mm.
What we try to do is we try and stop the feeling.
Yeah.
And if we would just let it do what a wave does, we'd be done with it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something interesting. My teacher in dance class the other day made the comment that waves don't actually move. All they're doing is responding to energy. So they become the vehicle for the energy to move through.
Ooh.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yes. And of course she said, and I said, well, of course, but putting it in those words,
Yeah.
it's like, that's what we are. We are just a vehicle for energy to move through. And
Mm.
when we don't allow that energy to complete, it gets stuck in the body mind.
Yeah.
And, dance movement therapy is really, that's what dance movement therapy is. It's about the sequencing of everything. How do I let everything complete?
Yeah.
And the body is such an amazing tool and vehicle for letting things complete. So I told you I have a new book coming out, Shake Yourself Free, and it's 81 somatic practices. But this book came to me on the dance floor.
Ah, Love that.
So 2 years ago, I'm dancing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, and you could let go this way, and you could do this, and you could do that. And I run up to Chloe and I say, my next book is How to Let Go Through Movement or something along those lines. And,
Yeah.
but for a year, for a solid year, I felt like I kept getting downloads of
Yeah.
here's another way to move, or here's the way to move through this, here's the way to move through that.
Mm.
And that's what I just kept putting in my book, different practices for moving with anxiety, for moving with anger, for moving with stuck feelings, moving with stuck thoughts. And um,
Mm.
I'll just give you one little example. I had a client session many months ago, and she was talking about just saying, I feel like I can't get my head on straight. And this is a place where I feel like so many therapists would go into trying to help people figure that out. And I just had her, say, great, let's move that. So I want you
Yes.
to just, like, oh, my head's not on straight. I can't get my head on straight. So moving with what is
Yes.
so that it can transform into something else. And I forget what the original question was because now I'm rambling. So I'll stop for a minute.
I don't remember the original question either. I'm like, we're just going somewhere. Yeah. Moving. You keep saying over and over, moving with, moving with, moving with.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people have the misconception that like embodiment or somatics is about moving away. You move to get rid of, and you're talking about you're dancing with it. You're
Yes.
actually leaning into it
Yes.
versus trying to move in order to not feel it.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
that's like so much of, therapeutically, whether it's through movement or anything else, how do I get rid of this? And as soon as you move into the realm of how to get rid of this, you are hanging out in resistance.
Yeah.
And many have heard what you pay attention to multiplies, what you resist persists, and then you wind up getting stuck in exactly what you don't want by resisting it.
Mm.
And we also know therapeutically, and this is taught in most therapy schools, I think, meet the client where they're at. Same with movement.
Yeah.
It's always the same principle. What's here now? And that's what I actually try and offer in the book is how do you learn to get in touch with what's here now? Because even that we weren't taught. How do you learn to listen to the body?
Yeah.
And one of the ways that we do that is drop the label.
Mm.
So things like, oh, I have a stiff neck. Well, what if we didn't know to call that that? What if we could recognize this something, feeling a little tight in my neck? I wonder what or who it could be. I wonder how it might want to move.
Yeah.
Or anxiety. This is one for years and years. It's like I have people come into my practice and in some ways it's like it drives me a little bit crazy that they've seen so many therapists before and they're still dealing with all of this, but
Yeah.
they come in, they say I'm anxious or I deal with anxiety and I say, okay, can you get in touch with it now? What does it feel like? And they say, okay, my heart is racing and my breath is short. I say, okay, good. Could we soften? Could we open? Could we let that be here?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I'm sure it happens to you too. It's like I had a new client some months ago, again in therapy with somebody else for 5 years, and she had an incident with the ex-boyfriend, and I can't go to work. I'm totally traumatized, and it's like, okay, could we just notice what's here?
Mm.
2 minutes, and she's like, I feel better.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is not common knowledge is kind of a travesty.
Yeah. Because so much of, I mean, the reason why people go to therapy is because there's some sort of emotional residue, there's some sort of emotional challenge that they can't seem to move through. And it often manifests as like certain ways of thinking or certain ways of behaving. But at the core, it's this emotion or these emotions that they don't know what to do with or they're afraid of. And it is very interesting that the therapy field at large, even though we talk about emotions, there's actually not a lot of training on like, what do
What do
you
you do with an emotion?
do? Yeah, we can talk about emotions all day long, but
right,
Emotion is energy in motion. It's emotion is the language of the body. It's not the language of the mind.
right.
And you made a really powerful statement, or you said Christine Caldwell, who's a dance therapist, for those who don't know, a pioneer in the dance therapy world. She made a very powerful statement to you. You said 30 years ago, right? 20 years ago. Sh-
Actually, it wasn't just to me. It was at a
Yeah.
dance movement therapy conference, but yeah.
Share that statement with us today.
Yeah. So that statement was that she said this 30 years ago, so she was a little ahead of her time, but that in 20 years, that practicing psychotherapy without the body would be considered unethical.
Yeah.
And I think that time has come. And I think more therapists are waking up to it. We see that a lot. How do I get trained in somatics?
Mhm.
But it's time for therapy without the body to be not.
Yeah. So tell me what that means to you, that like therapy without the body is unethical. Because that's a
Yeah.
powerful statement. I agree, but I'm sure that for some people to hear that, there would be some like prickling that
Yeah.
they might feel like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
what does that
And
mean?
and I will say that non-somatic therapists often are using the body. They're bringing breath awareness and other practices. So it's not to say that only somatic therapists are doing good work.
Right, right, of
Some
course.
modalities, EMDR, I work with developmental needs meeting strategy, IFS, I think incorporates some, how does that want to move?
Hmm.
But talk therapy, where we talk around our problems, where we try and analyze the problems, keeps us stuck in the head. And the more we try and figure out why we're feeling something, the more that feeling has to hang around.
Mm.
So we get caught in this loop. And what happens too often in therapy is people come out of it with a lot of good reasons why they are the way they are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A good explanation.
You want a story or you want freedom?
Yeah.
And and again, it's like people come to therapy with me, and I had a client years ago who um, she liked to talk,
Hmm.
and I knew her well enough, and we had worked long enough that I would repeatedly say to her, "Stop talking." And she posted on Facebook one time that if you're looking for a great therapist, go see Melanie. But if you're looking to just talk, don't do that because she
Yeah.
won't let you. And and it's like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because it certainly could be seen as rude when I tell somebody to stop talking, but I'm more interested in them getting what they came to me for
Yeah. Yeah. Not
and
just a place to vent. Yeah.
supporting them and repeating the story is only supporting them and keeping stuck in the cycle.
Yeah. And when I think about ethics, I mean, there's the do no harm and then there's the do good piece. And it's not that talk therapy is harming, but it's how do we do the highest good with and for
Right,
our clients? And
right,
like you said, if talking in circles is only keeping them stuck in this painful pattern, then
right.
that begs the question, is that doing the most good for them?
No,
Right, right. Like if they like to talk, which is fine, but if they're talking as a way of avoiding the very thing that they need to
yes,
begin to touch in order to break the very pattern that they came to you for,
yes,
then we got to go deeper in order to
yes,
do the highest good
yes,
with and for them.
yes. So I am a big fan of Michael Singer. Have you read Living Untethered, Untethered Soul?
I haven't, but I've heard so much about it.
Love his
Yeah.
work. Love his work. He talks about excessive talking as an attempt to control. And I also talk about thinking as a way to avoid feeling. But the other thing Michael Singer said, let me see if I can find it in his Living Untethered, is right that what our work is to disentangle ourselves from the objects of consciousness, which is what I've been talking about, the thoughts, the feelings. Those are all things that arise in consciousness, and how do we disentangle from them? So the other thing, I found this quote recently from neurologist Oliver Sacks. It's not a quote, but he said that much more of the brain is devoted to movement than to language. Language is only a little thing sitting on top of this huge ocean of movement. Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Wow.
And we give it so much attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's the newest part of the brain to have evolved, like our prefrontal cortex. But every other part of our brain is the more primal. I mean, even just like the brainstem is in charge for all the unconscious movement, the breath, the blood flow, like all the unconscious movement that's happening. And then you have the emotional center of the brain, which is emotion, fear, and all of that is movement.
Yeah, yeah,
It's movement. It's
it's
like the
movement.
tensing of the muscles, it's the relaxing of the muscles, it's the shifting of the eyes back and forth, it's our posture, it's everything. And yet we're we're only getting to the tip of the iceberg when we're only focusing on words and language. And language, it can be really, really powerful. And it's not that it's not important,
Right.
but going back to the whole premise of this podcast, which is incorporating
The
mind, body, and spirit, like the whole of who we are
yes,
as humans.
yes. And I'm glad you went there because that's what was coming back for me as well. Is I think for a lot of years we've been seeing more holistic health, more body, mind, spirit. But even within these circles, it's let's address the body, let's address the mind, let's address the spirit. And I don't see a lot of where they are all integrated as one. And I mean, especially I won't get started on the medical profession. I will refrain, but there's just so much division as if,
Yeah.
the thyroid is not connected to the brain, as if the ear is not connected to the foot, and it's like, what's that old song? The hip bone's connected to the, it's all connected. And when we can actually lean into that, I'm starting to, it just happens, the movement of how do I move with this when I let everything become a part of the dance. It's actually reconnecting me more to the truth of who I am, because that which I am moves with freedom, it moves as one. So coming into the dance, coming into movement, and it's interesting because before I knew this in my head, I knew it in my body. When I was 16, 17, something like that, I went through an awful breakup and I knew I had to get myself to dance class. I didn't know why, I didn't know what was happening, but it was the place where I found balance. It was a place where energy moved. So whether I could name it or not, the movement was still doing its work. And, I do say, and many people know that movement is medicine. Even walking is good for depression, but conscious movement where we get present, where we become aware, where we let the body move in the way that it wants to move, this for me is everything.
Yeah. And that's such an important distinction, that like getting present, getting aware, t tuning into how does the body want to move. Because a lot of people, when I'm sure you've dealt with this, when you tell people I'm a dance and movement therapist, like, oh, do you dance with people to help them feel better? Or are you a
Are
therapist
you
for
going to make
dancers?
me dance?
Yeah. And it's like, there's dance class where you're learning technique, which is you're putting something on your
Yes,
body. You're
yes,
telling your body, move in this way
yes,
because it's this technique, versus how does this energy want to move through me, regardless of what it looks like?
yes,
And that's such a difference from I go, yes, dance class can absolutely improve our mood, and dance class can give us more movement language,
yes,
which I have really found to be helpful. Like because I am a dancer, when I go to tune into my body to let her express, I have a lot more movement language and
yes,
range of motion and
yes,
options that I've learned.
yes,
But ultimately, you don't need to be a dancer to let
right,
your body move. You're
right,
already a mover because you exist, because you
right,
breathe.
exactly.
No matter what your ability is,
Yeah,
no matter your age, you're a living, to be alive is to be moving. When someone sees someone laying on the floor, the first thing they check for is breath,
right,
movement.
right,
So can you tune into the way your body, like you said, wants to move with
right,
this energy, with this
right.
emotion?
And that movement can be subtle. it can be just like, hey, I just need to lift my chest up. That can, that could be it. Or it could be, I need to throw myself around, so recognizing that full range. And in my book, I do say, say what you just said, you don't need to be a dancer. And even though the language it's my first language, it's everybody's first language. I mean, a 2-year-old knows how to dance. And it's not a matter of learning the language, it's a matter of remembering the language. This is the body's language. And I have another Gabrielle quote that is everything to me. It's like, in many shamanic societies, if you came to a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask one of 4 questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? When did you stop being comforted by the sweet territory of silence?
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's so many components. I mean, we've lost community.
Mm.
And community is where we used to do ritual, where we used to dance, where we used to sing. And we've turned to technology. And yeah, technology is great for so many things. You and I are talking across, I don't even know where you are.
California.
California. So I'm in Santa Fe, and
Yeah.
we talk across the world to people,
Yeah.
which is great. But it's also become our go-to.
Yeah.
And one of the things, talk about the body and technology. When we're looking at our phones or a computer all day, we're in a hunched over position. This is 30, 40 years ago, before people had cell phones. If I saw somebody walking down the street in this hunched position, I would think they were depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And being in this position, so the same thing where the body can support health and wellness, the body can also take us into illness.
Yeah.
As we are living in these contracted positions, we could become depressed, or we could become confused and think we're depressed.
Yeah. I mean, when I sit on my phone too long, I definitely feel some kind of way. That's not good.
Right. And one of the things that I teach people is, hey, every hour, throw your arms up in the air,
Yeah.
just to remind yourself that you're not depressed. And, again, it's like, this is one of those things. It's like, you do this, you walk down the street with your arms up in the air and people think you're crazy. It's like our range of movement is so
Yeah.
limited. It's like, can we bring back this much more movement, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. Like something I do just like in a restaurant, I'm walking somewhere, I'll often lace my fingers behind my back and like I'll walk into a restaurant doing that. Or I'll
Yeah.
every now and like it's so normal to me and it just looks like a stretch, right? But it's like a little cue to my body to like open and soften. But like you said, in our world, our movement patterning has become so much more contracted and enclosed, and it's almost seen as like, cringe or embarrassing to like be more expressive and open in your movement or like
Yeah.
even going back to the dance piece, the community piece, the connection piece, like anytime there's an event and there's music, I'm the first one on the dance floor dancing. And
Someone's got to get it started.
someone's got to get started, but like the amount of fear and resistance and hesitation that people have to even just do something like
Yes.
that,
Yes.
which once I end up roping people to join
Yes.
me,
Yes.
they
Yes.
always end up feeling so connected, have such a great time, but like as a society, it's seen as like this embarrassing, vulnerable thing to just let your body move in the way that they want to move.
Yeah.
And we've really lost
Yeah.
touch with that. Everyone's trying to like hold it together, keep their cool, not look too whatever when moving
Don't
together
look
in
wet.
community.
Don't
Yeah.
look weird. And the other, along those lines is, people are so afraid to show their emotions.
Yeah.
And what's so interesting to me is like, who are we drawn to? We're drawn to people that are willing to be authentic, to show us the truth of who they are.
Yeah.
And of course we are, because that's what we all want. We all want more of the truth of who we are. So somebody shows up and they, start crying in my presence, or they, share something from the heart, and
Mm.
it's like, that's when I fall in love with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I did a book launch last week, an in-person book launch. This week is the online one, but I did an in-person book launch and I had people there from 4 years old to 84 years old, which was
Wow.
really cool. And I asked, okay, I said, I know you all know how to shake. Who wants to show me how they shake? And the 4 year old got up first. And she
Yes.
got up and she was like, I can shake. And then the 84-year-old got up and she's, I can shake. I got that whole room shaking. And it was like, the light. Yes, it was like I got people moving. And, yes, I imparted some wisdom too, but the fact that I got a whole room full of people from age 4 to 84 moving is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And to me, that's where I feel spirit.
Yes.
That's where I feel spirit. It's like this intangible life energy
Yes.
that we all connect to. And it's
Yes.
so magical how like movement is the thing that like really brings that forth in people. It's like
Yeah.
in that room as people were moving, like you said, there's like this light, this life that comes back to them. Like that spirit, that like
Yes.
light behind people's eyes,
Absolutely.
that feeling of aliveness, like
Yeah.
that's spirit.
Yeah. Chloe's my dance teacher of 5 rhythms here. And she talks about disappearing ourselves in the dance.
Mm.
And to me, like, oh yes, let me go disappear myself. I am so tired of Melanie. And it doesn't matter for those of us that have done a lot of work, unless you're different, but most of us still, have our days where we're in our heads, where we're feeling something, we're like, oh, just shut up already, leave me alone. And that I have that space where I can go and disappear myself, to
Mm.
me is like the greatest gift I've been given in this life.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to have a taste of that.
Mm. Yeah. It's to me, it's what has made life feel so much more meaningful and connected and free, like you said in the beginning, and alive. And it, I am so grateful that this gift found me. And I know you feel the same.
Oh,
It's
yes.
like every single dance therapist I talk to, like we just can't shut up about this because
Yes.
it truly is. It's the best medicine. It's the best. It's not just for healing. It's not just for healing trauma. It's also for being, like you said,
Alive.
the truth of who you
Alive.
are, the alive.
Yes.
Ah, well, I'd love to spend a few moments talking about your book.
Okay.
So take me there. Tell
Okay.
the people of Earth about this book and how
Let's
they can
hold it
get
up for
it
those that
and
are watching. So, Shake Yourself Free, 81 Somatic Practices to Let Go of Limitation. And so, as I said earlier, I do in the book, I address how to start listening. I talk about how the book is actually a spiritual practice, all the things that we've been talking about, that letting go of that which we are not brings us closer to that which we are. So, we go through all the ways that we stop ourselves from freedom. So even some of the thinking. So many people have negative self-beliefs. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. And again, same as we were talking about before about leaning into movement. How do I lean into I'm not good enough? I'm not smart enough. I'm not capable. And how do we move with that? Again, what I see, not just in the therapeutic world, but I see it on television all the time. Oh, it's going to be fine. Oh, you can do this. Oh, you've got this. And often that's a bunch of bullshit. And instead of, saying it's going to be fine, well, what if it's not? And how do I move with that? And I think, and this is a little diversion, but often the things that are holding us back, that are keeping us stuck, are attached to a belief that we won't know how to move through it. And recognizing that we can learn how to move through everything gives us an incredible amount of power and sense of efficacy in our lives. So in the book, I have practices I think I'll just open it up for moving, as I said before, with anxiety, with anger, but also with apathy. So one of my practices that I really like in the book is let yourself be a slug. So literally get on the floor. A slug contracts and expands by this is the way it moves, is through contraction and expansion. So getting on the floor and moving like a slug is a way to meet apathy. I talked before about meeting, I don't have my head on straight. I also, in the book, I talk about how do we move with relationships and worrying and lack of motivation, resistance. There's the practice I've been doing for years and years when you feel overwhelmed, to either literally do this if you have the wherewithal, or to imagine that you're one of those circus performers and you put every worry on one plate, and then you see yourself spinning the plates, spin, 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 spin. And then when they're all spinning, then let them crash. So there's a lot of fun practices. I
Yeah.
like the one for relationships where if you feel like somebody is always telling you what to do or how to be, to let yourself be a puppet and imagine somebody's pulling the strings. And when you feel into what's happening, instead of complaining that somebody is manipulating you,
Yeah.
then you can start to find a different movement.
Mm.
So a lot of the practices are just that. Meet what's here so that you can find something else.
Yeah. What's on the other side of that thing? Like
Yes.
when you move all the way through it, all the way to the bottom of it,
Yes.
what other options become
What wants to
available to you?
complete and what wants to come through.
Yes. Oh, I love this. This is
Yeah.
amazing. It's like, an introductory or a guide for like, okay, yeah, how do we do all the things that you and I have been talking about? How do you meet yourself? How do you move with something? How do
Yes.
you find new ways of moving with something? If you're like, I don't know how to move with this, it sounds like
Right.
there's so many options
Yeah.
that people can pull from with
Yeah.
this
And I
book.
think, it's like what happened for me in the writing of the book, like the more I did the practices, it's like now it's just like, oh, here, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. It's like it gets the mind going in that
Mm,
direction of looking for creative outlets
yes.
instead of the habitual, how do I think myself through this?
Yeah. How do I become a
So, yeah,
slug instead of
right. Let myself be a slug
Yes. Oh my God.
or a
Yes.
sloth.
And this, uh, one last thing that's
Yeah.
coming up around this is like when we invite creativity and play into our more difficult emotions, we're
Yes.
signaling safety to our nervous
Yes.
system.
Absolutely.
That now this thing that I was judging or afraid of,
Right.
I'm playing with it. So now I kind of feel a completely different relationship to that
Right.
experience of that emotion.
Right. Right. And play is actually what I wrote my thesis on reclaiming an adult relationship to play.
Ah,
so, so bringing, it's like, and it's exactly what you said. Play lets us be in this moment. It gives us permission to explore and experiment. And that's what I'm really trying to
mm,
encourage in the book is let yourself experiment more. It's not that big a deal.
yeah, just play.
It's like, it's just life, whatever.
Yeah. Don't take yourself so seriously. Yeah.
So seriously. Yeah.
Oh, this sounds wonderful. What a gift to the world this body of work is that you've created. And I'm definitely going to be sharing all the information about it in the show notes. And for those who are watching on YouTube, in the description, we'll share about this beautiful offering to the world that you've created.
Mhm.
And as we're wrapping up, are there any final things that you want to share with the audience today?
Yeah, I think for anybody listening, to just give yourself a little more permission to just maybe shake. Bouncing is an incredible way. It's like really hard to hold on to a thought when you're bouncing, to do a little, shimmy of the shoulders, just to find small ways to start bringing in a little bit more movement on a regular basis will change everything. I mean, if you're at a desk all day, to take a 30-second play break and shake your body every hour. that will help your mental health. It'll help your ability to focus. It'll, remind you of what's important to you. So just, it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to look a certain way.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be this big, long hour practice in the morning. Like it can be these small little bite-sized things that you integrate throughout your whole day.
My first book is Stress Free in 30 Seconds, which is full of 30-second practices.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and because so many people that are stressed don't have the time to de-stress, but you can do it in 30 seconds.
I love that. Well, I'll post the link to that as well. I love that, like bite-size,
Exercise.
attainable
Yes.
ways to connect.
Practical, 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 because that's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This has been such a beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Chelsea. It's
so
been fun.
much for connecting, for
Mhm.
sharing your decades of wisdom and practice of this work with the world. I mean, I can't wait to be someone like you when I grow up, you know?
Oh,
Someone who's been doing this for so long and has so much to offer and so much depth, and someone who has seen thousands of people in your career and seen the magic over and over and to still feel so in love with the magic. You know, like
yeah.
that's the coolest thing to like
Yeah.
to see how the magic never died for you.
Yeah.
And that you said like at this point in your life, you're like, now I feel like a crusader for like it's still so
And
alive.
especially like I see how many therapists are burning out. And it's like, for me, coming to therapy is where I recharge. It's what
Yeah.
wakes me up, and so it's time for the world.
Yeah.
Time for the world to have this.
What a powerful example for other therapists or practitioners who may be watching or listening to see, like, oh, it's possible to still feel so invigorated by your work when your work is making this kind of impact on people's lives and on your own life, right? It's like, it's not
Well, I
just your
think,
clients, it's you.
yeah. And I think that most therapists come to this work because they love witnessing transformation and
Yeah.
supporting transformation. And is this is a better way. And I hate to compare, but I feel like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's my work. This is what I love. So this is
Yeah.
the way that we can see more transformation,
Yeah.
have more fun.
Yeah, I'll say, and for the work to not feel so heavy and
Yes.
heady, because
Yes.
I think that's what creates a lot of
That's
burnout.
what
It's
creates the
heavy
burnout.
and
Yes.
heady
Yes.
versus like seeing something unfold in real time and witnessing someone's state change so rapidly. Like that is so rewarding.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you
You're
so
so welcome, and thank you.
much.
I'm so glad we got to have this time.
I'm sure this will not be the first amazing conversation that we have.
Awesome.
Where can people find you? Are you on social media, website? Where can people
My
find
website's the best, smithsonclinic.com.
you? All right, I will post that in
But
the
Shake Yourself Free will also get you there. And on Facebook, Melanie Beth Smithson. So
beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope this conversation gave you so much to marinate with, consider, contemplate. And I hope that, if anything, after this conversation, you walk away with this desire to start moving with what is a little bit more. Thank you, everyone. And I can't wait to chat with you next time.